Welcome to the Freya Women Podcast. I'm so happy you're here. Have you ever noticed that there is a voice inside your head that speaks to you constantly, that judges, that narrates, that just doesn't stop talking throughout your day? When I started noticing this voice, I started understanding that there was some deep work that I needed to do within myself. And that was actually one of the first parts of my awakening, of realizing that there was this voice inside my head that just kept saying things, judging myself and others and circumstances, and just speaking and saying stories and worrying and fearing and doubting. And when I realized that, and when I started noticing that voice, something within me changed. Today, we're going to be speaking about how to move back into the present moment through connection with the body and breath. And at the end of this podcast, I'm going to share with you a breathing meditation that brings you back into the body, into connection with the sensations in your body, so that you hear the wisdom of this podcast and then you can integrate it in the body and feel it. Because once you feel it, it becomes you. And that's the part that we're missing in life. We're constantly learning new things, absorbing, consuming, but we don't actually integrate it in our lives. So the Freya podcast is going to be combining both the wisdom, the why am I doing this, with the actual doing of it, the beingness. So stay with me until the end. We're going to do that together at the end. But for now, I wanted to start off with my journey on presence. And I wanted you to understand where I was coming from with this. So when I started noticing this voice inside my head, I had a very anxious personality. I was someone who would have multiple panic attacks a day. I would feel like I was dying. I remember I was working at McDonald's. I was 13 years old, and I started having panic attacks in that moment of my life. I had just moved from the United States. So I used to live in the United States, and at the age of 13, I moved back to Quebec, to Canada, to my parents' hometown. And it was just such a clash because I was in the blue ribbon schools of the United States. I was playing clarinet, violin, doing all the sports, a very good student. And I just ended up in this high school where people were drinking, smoking, just not much discipline, not the discipline that I was used to back in the States. And I just felt lost. And of course, it was a different language as well. So that was a big change for me. And I had to change my whole environment, my friends. At the age of 13, it was a big thing for me. And I started developing anxiety and panic attacks, and I didn't understand what it was. I always knew I was a very sensitive being. I was introverted. I didn't really like having the spotlight because I was very shy. And I always felt like I was different. I was softer, sensitive. And so I started developing panic attacks because it was a big change for me, a big transition, and I didn't really know what was going on inside my body. I could feel my heart racing. I could feel like it was just, my whole surroundings was just black, and I was in this survival state. I couldn't breathe. I was breathing very superficially. My heart was beating really, really fast. I felt like I was having a heart attack. And in those moments, I just would call my mom and ask her to come pick me up and take me to the hospital because I honestly thought I was dying. And when I went to the doctors, she told me that I was anxious, that I was experiencing panic attacks because there was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with my heart. There was nothing wrong with my health. It was my anxiety. It was my stress. And when she told me this, she asked me if I was stressed, if I was anxious. And I replied no, because I had no consciousness of my body. I was just living in a survival state. So I just thought that this was normal. And it was a huge awakening for me because my anxiety is actually the portal of my awakening. It was the doorway into my awakening. Today, I thank God for my anxiety because it brought me here. And in that moment, I felt completely lost because the solution I was given was medication. And I decided not to take those medications and just continue surviving until one day I ended up in a yoga studio and I experienced what we call breathwork, and I understood the power that I held within my body and my breath. And today, this is why I am so passionate about what I teach, bringing women back to their bodies, to their breaths, because when you become more present, you feel this deeper connection to all that is. And you feel supported and you feel safe within your physical vessel. And that was the beginning of everything that I am today and everything that I teach and everything that I guide. So bringing it back to the present moment and this voice inside our heads that keeps talking and the fears and the doubts that come up. I realized that the more I became present through connection with the body and the breath, the more I felt safe, the more I was connected to this inner presence, this inner faith that lives within me and all around me. And so if you're experiencing anxiety or anything that you're judging is bad, it's probably the biggest doorway into the next version of yourself. Because when we are faced with our shadows or with our quote unquote negative, I don't even want to use that word. When we are faced with uncomfortableness, discomfort in the body and the mind and the soul, it is actually an opportunity for us to alchemize it into more light, more power. Not power from a state of ego, not power from a state of I'm better than you or I know more than you. A power that is so felt, that doesn't need to scream. It's like when you are in connection with people who understand this power, you feel it. You instantly feel safer, more grounded, more present. And so here's what I understood in the last 10 years of somatic trainings, breath work, yoga, everything that brought me back to the body. It's that when we're living in a state of survival mode, which can be called sympathetic mode, which is the nervous system. Okay, so this is a big topic right now, the nervous system. We're becoming more aware of it. But our nervous system is basically our signal that our body is just telling us, okay, I need to either flee, run away, fight, or freeze, or fawn, people please. Say yes when I mean no. Say, yeah, I'll do it, even if inside I'm like, I can't do this anymore. That. And I realized how often I was in those in my life, in the freeze, in the fight, in the running away, and in the fawn. So basically, my nervous system was super overwhelmed from being in a sympathetic state for long periods of my life. But because I hadn't understood this and I hadn't become aware of it, I was living it like it was the norm. And when I would speak to people about how I felt, people would just be like, yeah, I feel like that too. It passes. And I was just like, yeah, but I feel like this every day of my life. And I know that life is more than this. I know that there is so much more to life than this survival state that I'm finding myself in every single day of my life and wondering, why am I living my life this way? There has to be another way. And there is. There is. And the tools that I teach in Freya are the actual tools that I used in my life to bring myself from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state, which is rest, digest, beingness, being in the body, and being presence. There is balance that needs to be found in our lives between the doing and the being. But the thing is that we live in a society that really values when we perform, when we succeed, when we do all the things. And so we have been taught that if I perform, if I do this, if I do that, I will be loved, I will be liked. And so we think we need to perform our way into love, acceptance, connection. So our sense of worth is often really identified with our doing. And along the years, I have realized that I am worthy because I am. And the more that I am and the more that I allow myself to be, the more that I allow the people around me to be, and the more that I spread this love and light and presence. So it's really not more complicated than that. But we do tend to overcomplicate it with our minds. So when we are here, when we're overwhelmed, when we're in a state of anxiety, stress, go, 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 sympathetic mode, which isn't bad when we know how to use it. It's not a bad thing to be doing the things that we need to do in our lives. It's the energy behind the doing. It's the, am I doing this from a place of wholeness? Am I doing this from a place of love? Or am I doing this to prove a point? Am I doing this to be in the ego and show people that I'm capable? Am I doing this because I'm looking for love and acceptance outside myself? Or am I doing this because I am being called to do this from my heart, and I'm being called to share this just because? And that is a question that I continue to ask myself as a business owner is, am I doing this to fit in to a mold that I feel unsafe in or stuck or like imprisoned? Or am I doing this because I feel like this is the way that I need to go? And that feeling is in the body. That intuition is in the body. As women, we have a superpower. Our emotions, our sensitivity, our intuition, it's our magic. And when I understood that as a sensitive being, that brought me into the panic attacks and into the anxiety, when I understood that all of that discomfort and unclarity and uncertainty, when I could switch that, transform that, alchemize that into the power of what it is that I create through Freya, through my life, with my children, with my family, with my boyfriend, with my friends. I understood that that is actually the essence of who I am. And that is actually my biggest gift. So anything that you're experiencing in your life right now that is making you try to control or repress or think that it's negative or fear or doubt yourself, come back into the body, come back in connection with your breath, and allow yourself to create space around that so that it can move into your highest timeline and be transformed in divine timing. Not in a performative way, in a way of, okay, I love you, I see you, I feel you, I'm here with you. Just like a child when they need you. We're always there to support them. But when we're going through something, it's like, we're like, oh, I can't feel this right now. No, let me drink this. Let me eat this. Let me consume this. Let me fill up that void so I don't have to feel this. Looking for things on the external to fill in the discomfort or to fill in the void that we're missing, that we think we need to get outside ourselves, which is actually the complete opposite. It all starts within. And when we do from a state of wholeness, when we do from a state of, I am worthy, I am love, I am light, I am presence, I am connected to much bigger than myself, through my body, through my breath, that is when your whole life will start changing. And so I am currently in this transformation. I am living this every single day of my life because it's something to be speaking these words and sharing with you this wisdom, but it is something else to embody it in our lives and to actually feel it in our bodies and to live by this medicine, by this wisdom. So I'm going to take you into a practice where we can live this right now. So find a comfortable seat. Maybe sit on a couch. Make sure that your back is supported. You can also lie down if you feel like you just really need that extra support from the earth, from the ground beneath you. And start breathing into the belly. Filling up the belly with your breath. Exhale through the mouth. Continue breathing this way for one more breath. And now just bring the breath back through the nose. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And breathe into your lower stomach. So I want you to feel your body expand as you inhale. That lower stomach expand like a balloon. And as you exhale, allow your body to just come back to neutral. So we're just starting by bringing that breath into the wholeness of our upper body, because this is actually the first simple, powerful step is to breathe with our full capacity. Often in our lives, we are breathing very superficially in the upper chest, making it really hard to have a fulfilling life because of our superficial breathing. Our breathing pattern is a reflection of our lives. So if we want to live a full, alive, beautiful life, let's start by bringing that breath into the fullness of what it is and what it can be. So breathe into the stomach, feel the breath move in the upper body, and start going within, connecting to the inner body. If that is unclear for you, stay connected to the breath and just start noticing if there are any parts of your body that are speaking louder, if there's any resistance, any tension, any sense of expansion, softness. And just scan the body. Where do I feel alive? Where do I feel maybe more resistance? And if you can feel resistance, discomfort, my invitation for you is to start embracing that, breathing into that, breathing into the sensation of discomfort, bringing your light and your presence into the discomfort. And just see what happens. Be curious. You are safe. You are exactly where you need to be right now. Continue breathing into the body, into the sensations. And if it becomes harder, start extending your exhale. Extending the exhale is going to encourage the parasympathetic nervous system to come in and support you as you approach the different sensations in the body that can sometimes awaken discomfort. That may be emotional, physical, spiritual. You may start feeling emotions or start seeing things, or maybe thoughts are coming in. When you notice that you're in your mind, bring yourself back to the breath. The mind is going to try to control by protecting you, because that is what the mind does. It tries to protect you. But the thing is, the mind doesn't understand that when we are present inside our bodies, we don't need its protection. The mind is here as an ally to helping us build the life that we are meant to create. We are protected by the presence that we hold inside our bodies, inside the breath that brings us back to the presence that is within us and all around us. So the mind can just take a break right now, and we might need to remind it by bringing our awareness back multiple times during our breathing practices. And it's okay. It's totally normal. We're human. And we're building this muscle that we can call presence right now. We're doing this in small repetitions so that it starts becoming more normal for us to let go of control, to let go of performance, and to be present here now. Continue breathing into the low stomach. See if there is anything else coming up in the body. If you're in your mind, bring yourself back to the breath. Listen to what your body has to say through the sensations. And bring your loving presence back into your physical vessel. And as we experience the silence and the void, start embracing that void. Because the void may feel uncomfortable because it is unknown. And the unknown doesn't feel safe to the mind. But when we are fully present in the body, the unknown is actually where we're meant to go. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes and come back into this moment, but by staying connected to your internal world, your inner body. And just start looking around you and noticing the colors in your life and the beauty of being in this life, seeing it as a baby that is born and opening their eyes for the first time. Good. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you want to feel this deeper, more, if you want to feel like you are part of a community that brings you back into the present moment through practical tools that you can use in your life, ways of living that don't add something else on your to-do list, but that make that to-do list feel lighter. This is where I share everything that I do in my life and the practices that bring me back to the beingness and to the presence and the wisdom that I have acquired over these 10 years. I bring them to you in Divine. My membership that you can sign up for on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. I strongly encourage you to sign up for a year just because The more that we are a part of this for longer periods of time, the more that we start becoming this in our lives. This isn't a quick fix. This is something that we become, and it requires devotion, presence, and divine timing. We can't rush this. You can't rush your healing. You can't rush your awakening. You can't rush what you are meant to become. It's all divinely orchestrated. And when we feel like we're doing this wellness thing in a performative way, we're actually so far away from the truth. So in divine, we bring each other back to our truth, the truth that lives within our bodies and our breaths. So if that is something that speaks to you, you can sign up at freyawomen.com/divine. You can also follow me on Instagram, freya.thegoddesswithin. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel for free content that I love to post for you guys. And that's it. Have a beautiful day. Stay connected to this presence that you cultivated with me today, that we cultivated together. And bring this out into your lives, because this is such medicine for you, but also for everyone around you. And it all starts within. I'll see you on the next episode of the Freya Podcast. Bye.